After the Manchester derby, every single person is talking about Bruno Fernandes, Ruben Amorim playing him in the 2 in the central midfield. Bruno needs to go back to the number 10 position. Bruno should be better, closer to the opponent's box rather than facing his own box. All those things are what we are going to be debunking and talking about today. So guys, I beg you, grab your popcorn, turn on your notifications, hit that button and get active in the comment section because I answer every comment. That's the good thing about this situation. But I'm going to be breaking down what are the strengths of Bruno Fernandes, what are the weaknesses, why these things affect Ruben Amorim's systems, and how we can solve it. So without further ado, ladies in the back and in the front, gentlemen in the back and in the front, come closer because let's get this party started. Yes, Bruno's games thrives close to the goal, where his vision, passing range, and set-piece prowess are the most dangerous. Deeper midfield roles expose his defensive and physical limitations. A system built around a dedicated defensive shield and a forward-thinking runner would allow him to shine as a classic number 10. That is one thing that we know for sure. So let's start with the strengths because I know that's what you guys are waiting for. First things first, when it comes to Bruno Fernandes' strengths, is his vision and key passing. Bruno leads the Premier League in key passes per game, regularly splitting lines with through balls, and that basically would rival the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and his creativity at that time. So we all know that Bruno Fernandes, when it comes to creating big chances, is second to none in the Premier League. So it always asks us the question, why is Ruben Amorim playing Bruno in the 2 center midfield positions? But let's keep on going. Second thing that is a strength of Bruno Fernandes is his creative tempo control. He detects rhythm, switching play, driving attacks, and finding pockets between lines, which is essential for a number 10 in terms of him linking the midfield and the forwards. That's a key part, and that is also going to be key for us when we start discussing and tying it into Ruben Amorim's system. Third is his set-piece mastery. Dead ball specialist, Bruno is one. Free kicks, corner, penalties remain a reliable source of goals and chances for Manchester United and for Bruno Fernandes when it comes to him playing in those positions. You understand me? So the truth about it is that he is a complete number 9, a classic number 9. And then you also look at his leadership and mentality. Passionate on and off the ball. His vocal presence and work ethic lift teammates and define the locker room culture. And last but not least, when it comes to strength, is he always goes above average defensive contributions for a number 10, averaging 2.7 tackles, 1.3 blocks per game. He presses intelligently, even if deeper defensive responsibilities are not ideal for him. Key part. And we have to rest on those strengths because those are a very, very quick summary of what Bruno Fernandes' strengths are. Now let's get to the weaknesses, because the truth about it is that these weaknesses is what cost Manchester United today, especially that first goal. First thing first is his defensive discipline. That is a true weakness of Bruno because he's so focused on getting the ball. He's so focused on what he wants to do next with the ball. He tends to fall asleep. He tends to ball watch. He tends to let his man run in behind. As a converted number 10 player playing deeper, he often fails to pick up his runners. Phil Foden, example that just happened on Sunday. Second game of the season against Fulham, Emil Smith-Rowe. This right there is a liability, especially when it comes to transitional defense, because that is what happened. We saw us, funny enough, in a rest defense. And with things moving towards our goal, Bruno starts focusing solely on the ball. causing an opportunity for Phil Foden to literally have a free header in the 6-yard box against United. That right there is truly, truly a bad thing. And then let's look at the second one, ball retention under pressure. If there's anything that Bruno hates the most, is facing his goal and receiving the ball with pressure coming from every side. The dude does not know what to do. He is not pressure resistant whatsoever. That is one thing that Kobbie Mainoo has 1,000 times more than Bruno Fernandes. It is mind-blowing. Him and Manu Ugarte. And that is why it was mind-blowing to even see both of them start against Manchester City. Because Kobbie Mainoo is even scared. Is scarier. He is way worse than Bruno in terms of that situation. Because Bruno does not want to be playing with plays with him facing his own goal. He wants his strength is facing the opponent and literally dictating play from there. So if you tell him, Bruno, to pick up the ball from the centre backs, you are absolutely putting him in the worst position ever. We literally saw reports today come out that even Bruno, being that he supports Ruben Amorim to the moon and back, does not love the fact that he is playing in a deeper midfield role. But he's not going to complain whatsoever. He's always going to keep on playing. He's going to. You're looking at, despite him having 86 touches per game, his 17.4% turnover rate shows he struggles to be when pressed in tight spaces, especially in a number 8 role requiring more defensive support. My God, let me tell you this. There is not been a better time for us to get or for us to try and get Young. Because De Jong is a perfect prototype for somebody in that position that knows how to be press resistant. Sergio Busquets, another brilliant defensive midfielder that knows how to be press resistant. That is not Bruno Fernandes' game. It's just not. And I know Ruben Amorim still has situations to fix. And he's literally playing Bruno in that position because he doesn't have anybody else to do that role better. And so, it is quite sad for me to even sit back and be like, what can we do in this situation? The closest person to someone being press resistant is Sekou Kone, Kobbie Mainoo. Sekou Kone, because of his ability to also be tenacious. But when you're talking about that particular role in Manchester United, we do not have the right guy. And then let's go to the third weakness of Bruno Fernandes' game. There is going to be a physical decline, and we are already seeing it, whether we like it or not. At 31, there's a loss of pace. There is definitely a loss of stamina. The tires are getting literally worn out. You understand? He's still a very, very good box-to-box presence. Let's not deny that fact. But he's 31 years of age. He's 31 years of age, and he's not going to be getting any younger. And last but not least, tactical dependency. He needs teammates to create space and movement tailored to exploit his passing threat. Without that, he becomes isolated in dangerous areas. Literally, it breaks me to even think about. Because the moment Bruno comes closer to the defense to get the ball, what we saw against Manchester City, especially because of they have Linders that came from the Genga pressing of Johan Klopp. You literally saw a pounce. Haaland on Otai, Doku, Foden, Silva, Reinders, Rodri. Every single person started pushing forward. It was like there was no trigger. They just pressed wherever the ball was. Man to man, and they literally negated everything, leaving Rodri to be the free man. That is a Ballon d'Or winning player there. Being the free man in our midfield, that is a problem. It is a problem. Now, what are the tactical implications for Ruben Amorim? System adjustment. Deploy a single defensive pivot, Ugarte or Kobbie Mainoo, whose primary task is screening the back four and allowing Bruno the license to roam between the midfield and the attack. That is one thing that he's trying to do. But what I truly believe that he needs to try and do in the game against Chelsea is to bring in Joshua Zirkzee as the number 9. Playing the false number 9 is going to create an opportunity for us to have 3 players in the midfield, just like how we did when Mason Mount was in the game. Now, Mason Mount is injured, but it worked against Arsenal. Now, we did not win the game. It worked against Fulham until Mason Mount had to leave the game. It worked against Burnley. So we need to bring Joshua Zirkzee in. And I know every single person is like, bro, you can't take out Benjamin Sesko. You just paid £75 million. I know. But this is a team game. This is not a game for Joshua Zirkzee, for Benjamin Sesko. Bring in Joshua Zirkzee. Get a balance in the midfield. Overload the midfield. You have the 2 10s in Ahmad and Bruno Fernandes. And then you go and suffocate Chelsea. If there's one thing we cannot do is going into Chelsea that has a better midfield combo right now than Manchester City with Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandes, and Cole Palmer. If we made the biggest mistake to play the 2 in that situation without nobody dropping in to help them, we are going to get mollywopped yet again. And brothers and sisters, we cannot afford that. Now let's look at the midfield balance. Surrounding him with energy type midfielder who can cover ground, press and close the gaps. This shields Bruno from defensive grind and preserves his creative legs. Baleba, Ederson from Atalanta. These are the players that we need to bring in. Players that would absolutely do the hard yards for Bruno Fernandes. And last but not least, when it comes to the tactical implications, is the forward support. Encouraging the wide forwards and the fullbacks to make inward runs, drawing markers and creating channels for Bruno's through balls. It's needed. It's needed. We need to elevate the pressure that we put on our back line, the pressure that we put on our center backs by letting and making sure that our fullbacks can pin their wing backs or their wingers and their left back and right back down. If you're able to do that, Manchester United would have the opportunity. Bruno Fernandes will have the opportunity to dictate play. Today I was listening to a lot of sports media and sport talks, and people are always talking about if Bruno Fernandes is behind the wing backs, that's a problem. When did that become a problem? If we like it or not, one thing is that Gary Neville was always ahead of the likes of Paul Scholes. Because Paul Scholes will be arriving late in the box when Gary Neville is already on the ball line. It's something that we see in football, but we do not recognize it in today's day. The number 10 is the quarterback. The quarterback sends his wing backs to play, and the wing backs are the wide receivers. Do you get the correlation? The number 10s in this system is the tight ends. Do you get the correlation? So we need to understand that this system is not the biggest problem. It's the fact that every single person, and I'm going to make a video about this, why the 3-4-3 system works. I'm going to make a video. I'm just waiting for the right time to actually put this together. But the truth about this situation is that Bruno needs things in this system. He needs Patrick Dogu to be in there. He needs Amad Diallo to be in there. But he also needs somebody in the goddamn number 6 that would be able to be press resistant. And you know, funny thing about press resistance in Manchester United, there are 2 players that are our best press resistant players. And it is Kobe Mainoo and, this is the shocking part, Noussair Mazraoui. Noussair Mazraoui is the most press resistant defender I have seen in a very long time. And the beautiful thing about Noussair Mazraoui is that he also has defensive intelligence. He has the defensive intelligence, and that is the reason why I believe we need to try Noussair Mazraoui as the number 6 partner to Bruno Fernandes. I know it might be a shocking thing to do against Chelsea, but we need to combat. We need to absolutely be more physical I was watching the game again today, and to be frank with you, when Roy Keane said this, it was mind-blowing to me. No person, no Manchester United player got a yellow card in a Manchester derby. That's sacrilegious. That's problematic. And that is cheating the fans. We need to be more physical. We need somebody in the number 6 that understands how to delay, how to tackle, that understands how to win his duels, that understands when he gets the ball with his back facing the opponent. He needs an ability, an understanding, a spatial awareness to know who is coming from who is coming from where. Be able to scan left and right and understand how to get out of that situation without problems. And for right now, with the ability to defend, I truly believe, I honestly think that Nosei Mazarawi might be the answer to just give us a balance. And a lot of people might be freaking out about this situation, about this suggestion. The best manager in the Premier League right now, Pep Guardiola, has done it already with John Stones in the treble winning season. So guys, let's not panic. Let's realize that we have somebody that is a Swiss Army knife in Nosei Mazarawi. And it's sad that he did not get the preseason. But we need him in this situation. Let's try something that would absolutely give us balance. And of course, with this situation, we have opportunities and there are risks with every single thing. Over-reliance on a lone pivot would absolutely expose by heavy press. That's what we saw today. That's what we saw against Manchester City. The heavy press from Haaland, from Foden, from Silva, from Reinders, from all their literally forward players. It broke us. It literally broke us. We saw Altai panic. We saw Euro panic. We saw Shaw panic. We saw Delict panic. We saw Ugarte panic. It's a problem, but it's something that I believe Nosei Mazarawi can solve. And the last risk is it requires recruitment and tactical retaining of midfielders willing to sacrifice creative touches for defensive solidity. That's the reason why Ugarte is in the game. But the key thing about Ugarte is that the thing that we saw him do in basically retaining the ball and just keeping the passing going in PSG, we are not even seeing him do that at Manchester United. That's a problem. That right there is a problem. Bruno Fernandes remains at his peak impact in a true number 10 role, where his passing range, set pieces, skill, and attacking instinct are not stifled by defensive, deeper duties. If Amorim retools his midfield, installing a dedicated shield and dynamic runners, he can unleash Bruno's best form and address the Red Devils' creativity issues simultaneously. Because we truly need the balls to get to Benjamin Šeško. We need the opportunity for the likes of Joshua Zirkzee. Those are the things that we need. If you're interested in specific formation that can maximize the number 10's influence, let me know. I'm going to be bringing it up. And the funny thing about this situation, it's not going to be a formation that goes away from the principle and the philosophy of Ruben Amorim. It's going to be something that plays in the system, but just with little tweaks, little principle changes, and little tactical differences and personnel differences. I've literally talked about this before the season started. But let me know whether you guys want me to make a video about this particular formation down in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. So guys, get active. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Turn on your notifications so you do not miss anything that we have here for you on Pillar Sports. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.